It's Social Pulse Weekly, brought to you by Agorapulse. Discussing this week's hottest topics and latest developments in social media marketing. With your host, Jennifer Watson. Here's Social Pulse Weekly.
Hey everyone, and thank you so much for joining us on this Friday for Social Pulse Weekly. For one of the things for today, I'm just excited I've made it to Friday because it's been a crazy week for me personally. So hopefully everyone else is doing great. I had my daughter's school closed due to COVID, and there was a water main break overnight. And so I don't have any water right now. So there's been a lot of things going on, but I'm hoping that your weeks and your day is going a little bit better than mine. But with that said, I am so excited for today's show and to geek out with one of my really good friends who's so brilliant. It's unbelievable. So if you don't have a notebook sitting right by you, you need to have a notebook, a pen, a pad, something to be taking notes with, because he is going to blow your mind with absolutely everything he knows. But before we even get started, I just want to say hi to everyone. I hope you're doing amazing. And if you're watching, let us know who you are, where you're watching us from, and what was your first job ever in maybe high school or college. We were talking about that in the green room before we started. Mine was actually Famous Footwear, a shoe store. I worked at a shoe store. That was my first job. I started when I was 16, actually right when I turned 16. I think that was like the legal working age up in New York. So let us know. We've got Trisha Chambers in the house. Trisha, I am so excited you're here. I want to know how you're doing. Let us know, Trisha, what your first job was. And everyone else, definitely say hi in the comments. And one thing, a reminder is this is a two-way conversation. So Social Pulse Weekly is where we geek out about the latest social media news. We bring in an expert to teach us something. And then we have some fun trivia at the end with some amazing giveaways. So if you have a question, just ask it, because more than likely someone else has the very exact same question or something similar. Now, with that said, I'm going to pull up here our amazing guest because he's absolutely incredible. Jeff C is in the house, and you guys, like, getting Jeff C on the show with me is just like the bright spot of the entire week. And so, like, he's absolutely epic, and I'm going to pull him full screen. I told him I was going to do this when I read his bio. So really quick, Jeff is an international speaker and visual marketing consultant specializing in Pinterest, visual marketing, and video. He hosts the social media news show and podcast, and is also head beard at Manly Pinterest Tips. Jeff has worked with and produced visual content for various companies, including Guy Kawasaki, Kim Garst, Social Media Examiner, and Tailwind. With that said, oh my gosh, Jeff, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Man, that is really weird at the beginning. It's like in a mirror, everyone's looking at you, and you're like, what do I do? Hope there's nothing in my teeth, my beard. Is there any breakfast in my beard? Okay, I'm good. So.
Oh my God, you have like literally the most epic beard and mustache to go with it. It's just, I've never seen a better one. Seriously.
Yeah, well, it can scare people. To be honest, yeah, it's a little scary after COVID. It's like, just sit there and grow all year while we've been locked down. But it's ready to see the light of day. I'm ready for some conferences, getting able to see you and other people, our friends in the social media space. I'm looking forward to those days again. So.
Oh my God, same here. And we've got Eric Fisher in the house, two of our favorite people, or my favorite people. Eric, you're one of my favorite people. So you're absolutely fantastic. I'm glad you're here. Trisha said Saturday sales assistant. This was her first job in a shoe shop. Oh my gosh, another shoe store. Eric, I want to know what your first job was. Eric, you let us know, because I'm very curious about that. But Trisha, that is so cool. I like that.
My son's first job was at Famous Footwear.
Really?
Yeah, here in town in Longview. Yep.
Oh my
he worked
God.
there. So yeah.
Shoes are the thing. Jeff, what was your first job?
Mine was mowing yards. I mean, I was working like before. This was before junior high. I was mowing yards. I remember, and the first yard I had a little bagging mower, and this lady, it was a huge yard and she wanted it bagged. So I would mow like 6 feet, and I'd have to go dump it. And it was just a horrible thing. So many things that happened in that first job, but it was good. Been working. It was a good job. Bought my truck from mowing money, and since a wee lad. I've been working.
Oh my gosh, I absolutely love that. We've got Juan Santiago in the house. Juan, let us know what your first job was, but I love mowing the lawn. And you know what, Jeff, I love mowing the lawn. I'm a
Well, you
huge
can
fan of
come
that.
and do mine. It's fine. If anytime you want to mow a lawn, come over here. We got 3.5 acres. It's yours. It's my podcast time. I listen to Eric Fisher's podcast, by the way, on my mower. I've got the big, sound buffer things, but it lets me stream my podcast. So that's my podcast time.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And of course, we've got Scott Ayers in the house. His first job was McDonald's. I love that.
I can see. Did he wear the orange hair at the drive-in window, though? That's the thing. You get him confused with Ronald McDonald if he would do that. So.
Actually, I have a question, Scott. Did you dress up as Ronald McDonald ever? Well, I seriously. So
he would. He probably did.
Okay, and really quick before we dive right in, so I worked at Baskin Robbins, and they have their mascot, which is Scoops, which is like an ice cream cone, like a double like scoop of ice cream. I was Scoops once at this like big thing in downtown Charlotte, and like I was kind of doing cartwheels and forward rolls. So yeah, Scott, I want to know if you're Ronald McDonald.
He's probably dressed as Ronald McDonald now. Actually, it's probably in his off time. He does that.
Yeah, I bet he does. Maybe we should do that for Halloween. And then really quick, we got someone else says, hello, Jen and Jeff. I'm excited to be here today. I hope you're both having a great week. Oh my gosh, we are. Mine's been a little crazy, but it's getting better, especially with all of you here with Jeff. It's always fantastic ending the week with this show. So I'm glad you're joining us. And we are using StreamYard, keep in mind. So please give StreamYard permission so we can actually see who you are, because I can't see who that amazing Facebook person was. Scott Ayers said, I never thought about the Ronald connection. Yes. Oh, and we've got Jeremy in the house. Oh, it's Jeremy. Jeremy, you're awesome. Jeremy, thank you so much for joining us. He is outside of DC a little bit in the mountains of Western Virginia. So I believe that's right. Let me know. And then we've got, God, there's so many people. This is great. Marvin Reed from Volume 2. Glad I caught you guys live. I'm so glad you're here too. Let us know what your first job was out of high school or college or whatever. We're all geeking out about that and having some fun. And also bring your questions, because Jeff knows just about everything, I would say.
No, I do not.
Yes, about thumb stopping content, all of that. And my questions dive right in, but really quick, Jeff, can you give a quick, like 2-minute brief rundown of how you got to where you are today?
Oh, wow. Well, my office is just in the backyard, and I just walked out to it. So it's just, that was how, but how I got to in my career is I started back in the day. I had a digital marketing business here in Longview, and I started telling my, clients to, hey, get on the social media. I was like, well, then I need to do it. So I started doing that. I started a blog, and I wrote this article called Manly Tips #1, and Manly Pinterest Tips #1. And it was how to share a secret board on Pinterest with my daughter, and it kind of went crazy. And this was back in the days. And in fact, your compatriot Mike Alton was one of the first guys. We went live and did this show called Manly Pinterest Tips, and we had 4 other guys, and we interviewed people. We got to interview people like the producer for Pretty Woman. I mean, it was just the Wild West of live video back in the day. So did that. It was crazy. Turned into a podcast. That went well. Then Social Media Examiner saw that, had me run their Pinterest account. I got to speak at their virtual conference, and then that led to the last 5 years now, speaking at their event. And I did a lot of stuff for them, did host their live show for a long time and helped produce a lot of their live content. And then just it went from there. Now I'm producing Guy Kawasaki's live show and his podcast, stuff for Tailwind, my own show. And it all started back on the good old days of Google Plus.
I love that so much. And you know what? I was a Google Pluser. I didn't do live, but I posted weather forecasts there.
That's right. You were a big deal. It was like Jennifer Watson from the Weather Channel. She just liked my post. So,
oh my God, that's not even true. Jeff is totally, that didn't even happen. But Jeff, oh my gosh, I love how you started with just like, you know what, I'm going to make one post talking about, this shared board with my daughter. And it turned into like a whole career and everything. You just never know.
So it's really funny you said that, because, the big thing now, and I know Scott and I have had conversations about this, Clubhouse is like the flavor of the munch. Everybody's on Clubhouse. We need to be on Clubhouse. And I kind of, at first like poo-pooed it, like it's just another network. Oh my gosh, everyone's on there. You see these rooms like Millionaires Breakfast Club. And I just wanted trying to get my kids through college. I'm eating an off-brand of Cheerios club, to go into. But the truth of the matter is, back to the Google Plus thing, is Google Plus isn't around anymore. But I made all my connections. I can trace my job that I have with Guy Kawasaki back to making a post on Peg Fitzpatrick, who runs all of her Guy's social, back on Google Plus all those days ago. So it really doesn't matter what platform you're on, as long as you're making connections, being authentic, and just showing up and being kind and engaging with people. It doesn't matter what network you're on, because Google Plus isn't around, but I can see how that totally kickstarted my whole career and what I'm doing now. So I kind of changed my tune a little bit about on Clubhouse. Even if Clubhouse goes away, if people are on there and engaging and building those networks and having true, authentic engagement, that could work for them as well.
I love that. Jeff, I'm so glad you said that, because I think many people feel like, should I join? Should I not? And the people that are on Clubhouse and the relationships that you've built, like I've been able to connect with people on Clubhouse that I would have never been able to on any other social network.
Right.
So I love that. And it's all about connections too. And, if you are, like you said, truly authentic and create some really amazing content, people will follow you wherever you go, even if, Google Plus goes away, which it did, but like Clubhouse or anything else. Right. So Jeff, I love that so much. This is why you're here. This is why you're so brilliant.
Thank you.
We love you.
Stop it.
And yes, no. Oh my God. We've got Megan Powers in the house. Megan,
she's awesome.
How are you? What was your first job, Megan? We want to know. We're talking about it. Jeremy's first job was a lifeguard. Loved it and miss it. Oh my gosh. Yes. I would love to be a lifeguard too, actually, at the beach and everything. We've got also, hey, Jen and Jeff, this is Alan of Zuli Design Studios, all the way from Africa in Kenya.
Cool.
Thank you so much for joining us. If you have any questions at all, please let us know. We are here. Or if you want to share something. Trisha said Twitter Spaces as well. Yeah, Twitter Spaces is also another great place where you can connect with people. So yeah, definitely, do what you can, try it all. And one last, before we deep dive into the questions, Megan said she ran a snack shack at her community pool at the age of 13. Oh my gosh.
That's cool.
Megan, I'm impressed. Oh my God. I love that so much. So Jeff, let's talk to you, because I've seen you present this before, and just the content you create is so incredible. How do you create content that stands out? Everyone is trying to create that thumb-stopping content, right? Because there's just so much to consume on the news feeds and everything else. How do you get someone to stop and be like, wow, what is that? What are they doing? And actually just kind of stop that scroll and take a deeper look, maybe click through to your website and other things. Like, what do you do?
So it's getting crowded in the space. I mean, all the different feeds, even Clubhouse, all the stuff we've been talking about. So what I like to do is I look and see what's standing out in the feed. What's making me stop. So the thing I did a couple years ago and if you go to manlypinteresttips.com, the website, on the sidebar, you can actually see, I created this little video where I reach out and I tap the button or whatever. And that was a big deal. Everyone's like, how did you do that? Da, da, da. But that was because I was trying to figure out a way to stand out in the feed. So I always like to say, what's making me stop? Why is Zach King stuff so popular? It's because it stands out in the feed. You're not expecting it. So how can you take the things, and you don't have to be, nobody can be Zach King. I can't be Zach King, but what can you look at from what he's doing that you can go, okay, I know I have this that I could maybe do to stand out in the feed. I'm going to try this at the beginning of my videos, or my beginning of my ad, or this image, or whatever. And so you need to really take almost like an audit of yourself. Like just one day, like when your break, not during the show, but during your break is when you're scrolling through and you notice yourself stopping. Why do you stop? Why did you stop there? What was it about that piece of content? Was it that person? Was it a funny face they were making? What was going on? What made you stop and look at that? Another thing I like to do is go back to look at my, what I've liked on YouTube, because you can kind of save those. I do a lot of watch later things. I'll watch something and hit watch later and put it in kind of that bucket. And I'll go back and look at those, why did I stop and look at those videos? And then I try to kind of reverse, engineer what they did. Was it an explosion of a lot of, and this worked for a long time, is those big explosions of paint colors. A lot of ads were using those for a while. And you kind of want to be on the first, you want to see what's working and kind of ride that first wave and then look for something new. Like if you're doing that now, it's probably a little bit too late. But look what's working. Why is something standing out in the feed? Another tip that I really like to look at, and I've been diving deep into like how to do well on YouTube and YouTube strategies, because that's kind of the thing I want to focus on this quarter. And this is from Daryl Eves, who's a genius when it comes to YouTube. I mean, he's the Squatty Potty guy, the Poopery. He's behind a lot of those Harmon Brother ads. He works with them. And what he told me, and I've been doing this a lot, is to look at Netflix. Look at how they're doing their thumbnails. Because they're running these algorithms, and what you see on Netflix is going to be different from what Jennifer sees on Netflix because of our preferences, what we watch, and they're changing up those thumbnails. And I'm seeing like, okay, why are they using that? Why are they using that font? Why is that face on that side of the thumbnail and why is it not? All that stuff makes a difference because they're trying to get those things to stand out. They also have, if you look on your phone, they have some vertical content, vertical content. And so look how they're doing that, because that's a whole different animal. And you can learn a lot just by studying the way people are presenting visual content, how they're creating their static images, what videos they're doing, what hooks they're using, all that stuff.
I love that. Oh my gosh, those tips are absolutely priceless, because that's one of the things for me I try to pay attention to as well. I feel like Instagram ads, like they are targeted very well toward me, like to the point, like I will take a screenshot of it. So I'm like, I think I really want that, but I'm not sure, like, yeah. It's so crazy.
And Instagram's a great example. Eric Fisher and I talk about that. We found, like, especially when we were working for Social Media Examiner, we found a lot of the apps and stuff from Instagram because they were usually, like you were saying, really targeted.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. So I love that, to just kind of take a step back and analyze what you're doing, but also take a look at what other people are doing or why you stop, or even, creating images and content and seeing, vetting it to your friends or coworkers and colleagues. If they're not stopping their scroll for your own content, then something's wrong. So
I have a great example I wanted to bring up since we're talking about this. So this is from my friend Jennifer Priest, who's she's a genius Pinterest strategist and SEO person, and I know we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But one of the things, and what she uses for an example, so she was doing some stuff, and she does a lot of crafts and things like that, and a lot of her things were with IKEA stuff, and so she was creating pins and visuals that would fit in that. And if IKEA's look, it's very streamlined, it's very sleek, it's very minimalistic, and it's usually on white. And her pins were performing okay. And she decided, well, you know what? What if I do my content on a black background? And she did that. And all of a sudden that one went crazy because it stood out from everything else, everybody else's content in the feed. It wasn't like hideous or anything, but she just used a different color, which was what people weren't expecting. And that pin got a lot of engagement and a lot of clicks. So sometimes it makes, going against the flow, and it only works for a little bit because then other people start copying it and it won't matter as much. But how can you maybe go against the flow a little bit or try something different that even in that search term will show up differently and really make you pop against everybody else?
Oh my gosh, I love that. And I didn't realize Jennifer Priest was also a Pinterest queen.
Oh, she's genius. Yeah, she's amazing.
So I guess like both of you together could like totally create like.
Oh, I listen to her all the time because she is super smart. I just kind of like nod my head and agree with whatever she says. Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that. But you're brilliant in your own right. And we're going to get to that too. Quick shout out though to Beck Baker, who is in Australia, I believe, Beck. So thank you so much for joining us. Good morning. How is the future? What does it look like for a Saturday? Happy weekend. But I love that. And so you use, Jeff, a lot of different like video templates. And I would first of all, I want to know what tool you use to create your images, because a lot of us, like, you're brilliant. Like, tech is easy for you, or at least I think, Jeff.
I don't know about that.
But for those of us that aren't tech savvy, are there any kind of templates, apps? Like, what are your favorites to use? And maybe some that are a little bit easier for those of us that are just like, I don't know, because I know you have Photoshop templates. I know there's video templates, but can you walk us through some of those different options?
So I'll start with the kind of the one that's like intimidates a lot of people is Photoshop. Like they open it up like, oh my gosh, what's happening? Because there are all these windows open and all this stuff, and then you freak out. And just take a deep breath. It's a lot easier to use than when I first started. The other thing is now there's a plethora, I'm going to use that word, plethora of tutorials and tools and tips, YouTube channels built on this stuff. And so you can learn it and a lot quicker than I did. I love Photoshop because, one, it's a tool you can learn for the rest of your life, but it's so powerful. And Adobe Suite, the way they work with all the things with like After Effects and like Premiere for video, all that stuff, how it works in Adobe's ecosystem, which is one of the reasons they're like, that's kind of the standard in graphic design and video editing through a lot of the industry. But the thing you need to learn is, because I forget stuff all the time on how to do things in Photoshop. But what you want to learn is the terms. Like, what is a mask? How do I learn? Then, I mean, you can just let it go out your head, because there's so many things I've forgotten about how to do for Photoshop. It's just ridiculous. But when I get in the program, I'm like, I can Google it and figure it out. So that's the first thing. And it's really easy. Don't let it freak you out. Try Photoshop. Because I know a lot of us like to use these apps, like, I got this app that I can remove the background. This is an app where I can, use text. And so the problem is I don't know about you, but I've been like $3.99 and then $9.99 a month to death. Like, oh my gosh, $1,500 a month from all these apps. So Photoshop's like $9 a month if you get their simplest plan. So it may be worth your while to learn it just for a cost basis. For ease of use, I love Canva. I love Easel. I think both of those have their place. I use them, when I need to make a quick fix or do something really quick, like, like I said, take out a background or something like that. Canva is great because it's got so many options and so many cool things. Easel is really nice. I really like it because their templates seem a little bit fresher to me, and not everybody's hitting them as hard. So I like to kind of mix it up that way. And like you mentioned, templates, I love, there's nothing wrong with using templates. I use those to kickstart things all the time. If I can find a template, I'm going to buy it and use it because it saves you so much time. Even if you're a designer, I know a lot of designers do the same thing. But I like Mighty Deals to find templates, and also Creative Market, which I think a lot of people know about. They've got a ton of things in there as well. So you can get some really great resources from those places. And Photoshop, they even have Canva templates in there. So it's a great place to look.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Jeff, thank you for all the tips. I'm one of those people, when I open Photoshop, I'm just like, I freak out. I'm like, oh gosh. I'm like, there's a lot of things here. Yeah. And it can be really intimidating. Like
it can be, but it's just, like I said, just learn the terms. Like, just start simple. Like, how can I crop a photo in Photoshop? Learn that. And then, like, how do I make it transparent? And now they even have, you just go to help and say, make background transparent. They have a button that'll do it for you right inside of Photoshop. So you don't have to do all this, like, make this mask, highlight this, and, it just does it for you. So it's getting a lot easier, but just learn one thing and then, like, I know that term now, and then go to the next and just kind of work on it, because it's going to be around for years. It's one of those tools that the things you learn in Photoshop can translate over to, like, when you want to go to Adobe Premiere and After Effects. Like, After Effects is what all the cool motion graphics that you see for videos are, like flying logos and all that kind of stuff. And all After Effects is pretty much Photoshop with moving layers, and so that you animate. And so once you kind of get those things in your head, it's easy to go to some of the other programs.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And it's such great advice. Just like people who are timid about live video, just jump right in. And then you realize how easy it is. So that's fantastic. And then we've got Jeremy here said, I totally love Photoshop. I have to agree with Jeff. It takes time, but once you get it, it is amazing. My wife, Abby, is a whiz, but was super intimidated in the beginning as well. Jeremy, I love to hear that from you. Him and his wife, Abby, are absolutely brilliant with their agency. They're doing so many great things. Cool. So Jeremy, thank you for the insight. So I want to know, when it comes to you, Jeff, and your creative process, and you're just like, I got to create an image or a video. I want to do that. Can you walk us through kind of how you create, okay, this is what I think I'm going to do, and kind of draw it out for us a little bit from the beginning to the end product?
Yeah. So let me take you through the video thing now, because that's kind of what I've been in a lot, trying to figure this out. So, because I want to take, so you're like me, we make so much content. I'm just so tired of, like, letting it go out and just sit there. I want to, I'm trying to repurpose a lot of my live video for YouTube. So let me tell you the kind of the process that I've been doing for that. So, and this is me. You can have a whole different process, but this is what I like to do. I've always been about the music. And so I always try to find, this is for video editing, music first. Like music for me, either at the beginning will have a hook that'll have a different thing, like it'll be a funny thing. I'm working on one now about TikTok, and what I've done is I found music that goes along. It's kind of this really, dance, hip hop kind of stuff, but this is just nerd dancing. Because one of my things I ask the hook of the video is like, are you struggling with TikTok and you don't really dance? That's a hook. Like, because a lot of people are like, I'd love to get on TikTok, but I'm not going to dance. And so I started with that music, that hook, and then that allows me to edit to that music, because it just, for me, it really helps with the theme, the feeling, how I'm going to make the cuts. A lot of times, this is so super nerdy, but even before I even get to that stage, I want to get my creative juices flowing, and I have, and it's probably public actually on my Spotify, but I have a creativity playlist, and it's mostly like Jurassic Park theme. It's like Marvel, like Captain America. It's because to me, when I create video, I'm thinking cinematic. I'm thinking of like visuals. And so I have that to like get my juices going before I even start, because the older I get, the more it's not managing my time, it's managing my energy. And so I really like to, edit when I'm like really creative and feeling like, I'm the next Spielberg, so I need to listen to his music and, go in there and do that. And so that's how I kind of do my creative process. And then I've learned to edit really, really hard. So I have that soundtrack that I've liked. I've started with that. And then I put all the clips in that I think that will work. And then I start chopping and I take it. I'm deleting. I'm trying to make it as concise and tight as possible. If you look at YouTube, like Sean Cannell's channel, Nick Nimmin, some of those guys, look how they're editing, and like they're really tight, they're really focused, and they don't meander around like I've been doing for a while now. But it's really tight and packed. And so that's what I like to do when I start like thinking and creating. I even use that same creative thing when I'm trying to batch out images. I have that music going. And I use Brain FM. Eric Fisher got me onto that. I use that as well to kind of get focused and like creative, in a creative mood.
So do you really like Brain FM? I haven't even tried it yet, but I know Eric
use it every day. I use it in the morning for my meditation and prayer stuff. Yeah. And then I use it in like when if I need to take a power nap, there's this dude on there. And I always I never could do a guided, like try to every day. I mean, he puts me out for sleep for 20 minutes and I get up and I'm like, ready to go. So Eric and I are all about naps. He and I talk about this, like, because Michael Hyatt he's a big, both of us are big fans, and he talks about how important naps are. And I'm like, okay, I'm all about that. So I try, if I can, drink a cup of coffee and take a nap in the afternoon.
Oh my God, that's perfect. Oh my God, I love it. I might actually try that. And we've got Deb Mitchell in the house as well. She's sharing some amazing links to different things. So Deb, thank you so much for that. There's Eric. Eric, I wasn't sure if you're still listening.
He uses it multiple times every day too. Yeah, it is really cool. You think it's like, like this woo-woo stuff, but it works. It really does.
Oh my God, I love that. I'm so doing that. I'm a power nap person if I can make that happen, but it's so hard, especially the last 2 weeks with my daughter at home with me trying to work a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
It was wrestling more like live eels. It really is.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, Eric, I love how you just said Nappuccino. Yes.
He's got some there's some sleep experts that we both, because Eric and I are in a mastermind together, that we've talked a lot through, and how important sleep is. And that really, I really have been trying to hack my sleep. I do the sleep tracking, the watch, but drinking a cup of coffee and then going to sleep for a nap about, 20 to 45 minutes, because the caffeine takes that long to hit your system. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. Yeah, you drink a cup of coffee, take a nap, and I use that Brain FM thing to help me take that nap. And it's not even a deep sleep. It's just like sometimes a restful one. But then you get up and you're ready to go. So it's a genius. That Nappuccino thing is genius.
Oh my gosh. And with Eric and his productivity podcast too, the two of you could just like rule the world.
Oh, yeah. It's a great show. So check it out. Yeah,
absolutely. Oh my God, Jeff, thank you so much for all of that. And so, Deb I have to pull up what Deb says. Deb says, now when Eric is not on Slack, I know he's taking a nap.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, you let it out. The cat's out of the bag.
I know the cat is out of the bag. Jeremy says, ugh, my sleep habits are the worst. How long is your nap, Jeff? Which I think you said 20 minutes.
Yeah, 20 to 45 minutes. I mean, if you go too long, you start, at least for me, I wake up and I almost feel ill sometimes if you like take a long nap in the afternoon. So I usually try to take, my Brain FM is like, I think it's for 20 to 30 minutes. It's a perfect little thing. And he kind of guides you through like stuff. And I'm like, I'm done. I don't remember what he said, but it works. So it just does. I don't know what it is, but I love the Nappuccino thing. And, yeah. And the other thing is I've been really trying to, I don't know how we got on this stuff, but we're going to go with it, is I've been trying to do no work on Saturday. Like I'm horrible. Jeremy mentioned sleep habits. Mm-hmm. I've been horrible about like not taking a break. And so I'm really trying to make a day where I don't do anything. I may read a book about like business stuff, but I'm not even gonna work on my thing, which is really, really hard if you're a solopreneur or an entrepreneur. But I think it's important.
It is. And the thing is, you don't realize it until you're forced into it. In some cases, because I remember it was last year, I think, where I had to have like some very minor surgery. I was like, I took the entire day, like my sister came into town just to make sure I was okay. And we literally watched TV and just relaxed all day. And I'm like, I haven't done this and I can't.
That's amazing. Yes, you're like, oh my gosh, what have I been doing? Yeah.
I know. I'm like, why did I have to like, have minor surgery to make this happen?
Right.
So take care of yourself. I love this. And you know what? I love getting on tangents like this because, it's beneficial to everyone. It's stuff that we all talk about and geek out about. So I love that. But with that said, I want to talk about Pinterest and the power of Pinterest and SEO and just the fact that sometimes I feel like executives are just like, it's Twitter, it's Facebook, it's Instagram. That's it. But why Pinterest is so important in your marketing strategy?
So there's nothing like Pinterest for driving traffic. So, I mentioned in YouTube earlier and Pinterest, the thing is, those are both search engines. Pinterest is a visual search engine. And you think about all the other networks, YouTube is the only other search really that you have, that you can see organic content can be seen, that people are searching for. And Pinterest is the same way. So, Facebook, Twitter, all those things, it's just lost in the feed. Oh, lost in the feed. And Pinterest is evergreen traffic. I mean, I have pins that I still get traffic on. My friend Peg Fitzpatrick has this piece of content. It's like a muffin recipe or something that comes up every year at a certain time because it's a holiday thing, but it's very, very evergreen. And so using that to drive traffic to your website or your blog or even, products now, it's just, you just can't beat it. It's just the thing is you need to make sure that there's not a disconnect. So, your question was about Pinterest and helping SEO. Pinterest doesn't really give you any extra SEO other than Pinterest will drive traffic. The SEO comes from you, like making sure that is qualified traffic and there's not a disconnect from your Pinterest to your website. Like if you make a pin that's like, 500 ways to, make 100 people, love your live stream. And then it goes and it's just to a regular page that doesn't really have anything to do with that pin. Then your bounce rate is going to go up and that's not good for SEO. So you want to make sure that you, whatever you're leading people from Pinterest to your website makes sense. And that there's going to be a payoff at the end. It's not just, the old way when I first started Pinterest is you would pin an image and then you'd repin it, and it would show up in the feed. It's not that way anymore. Pinterest wants new content. They want a new URL. They want a new image. And so you have to space things out a little bit more. It's not kind of the Wild West as it was when I first got on there. So you have to be a little more strategic, but it's still the best driver of organic traffic that I know.
Oh my gosh. See, I love that. And I think that's something that executive teams, and it's something hard for social media managers to get buy-in, that we need to be doing this, that we need to have a presence on Pinterest. Because Pinterest has been evolving really well and has a whole bunch of new features and different things you can utilize. What are some things that you think marketers need to take advantage of that aren't doing right now?
So video is really big on Pinterest right now. They're really highlighting it. So what I would do, and, I think a lot of the disconnect with Pinterest is hard because it's that, for a long time, and it still is that vertical image. And people are like, I got to create another image. I've already done it for my blog post and Instagram. I don't want to do another one. And so I think that was kind of disconnect. Well, now it's the same thing, only video. But a lot of people now have this, they're creating vertical video for Instagram. YouTube stories YouTube Shorts is another, vertical thing that's been coming out. So I think more people are able to do that. But video right now is big on Pinterest. The algorithm is really, if you scroll through your feed, you're going to see a lot of video. And I've had really good success with posting video pins on Pinterest. Now, keep them short. You don't want to put your whole live video that you made into a vertical video on Pinterest. It's not going to work. But something that really engages people. Look what other people are doing in there. Just like we talked at the beginning, kind of do an audit of what's working, why you're stopping, what's attractive to you, and see what some of those big brands are doing, and kind of take some cues from them. The other big thing in that same vein is Pinterest has released stories. You may not have access to it yet, but it's slowly rolling out to everybody, at least in the United States. And stories work like stories on the other platforms with a couple of different things. First of all, they don't ever go away. They're attached to your profile, which is really, really cool. The second thing is you can go and change the content on that story for up to a week. Then it's locked in. And the other thing is there's not a link, there's no really swipe up or anything like that, but all of them at the end link back to your profile. So they don't link out like a regular profile, like a regular pin or a video pin does. It links back to your profile, which is great for you if you're trying to grow your account or your followers on Pinterest. So a lot of people are getting huge success with stories, actually telling a story, like a how-to, here's how to do this, and then have a link back to their profile. Those are doing really well. And you can add video up to that. I think you have 20 different pages on your story, and it can be a mix of both video, text, and images. So you can really do some really cool stuff on there. So you can also repurpose stuff you've done on Instagram and some of those other platforms as well. But I found really good success of doing a story using video. I've taken if I was interviewing Jennifer and we had a question and answer, and that's probably, a short amount of time, chopping that up, making it a story, waiting a couple of days, and then uploading that entire long video as a video pin. And they both have been getting really, really good engagement and traffic.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And we just blew Megan Power's mind. She said, wait a minute, Pinterest has stories.
It's hard to do, by the way, folks.
Yeah, I know it is hard to do. Yes, no, it does. And I think, one of the biggest struggles, Jeff, I feel like is every platform, just like the whole social audio craze right now, every platform now has stories. Every platform now is trying to, adapt to this audio social, thing that Clubhouse is doing. And it's just how do you do it all? I would love to know, what social channels you've seen the most success in and what you actually focus on.
So, I love live video. And I love doing Facebook Lives. I've been going, but I've been using and going everywhere. So lately, this is in the past month and a half, is Amazon Live. It's amazing. I know Scott Ayers has been doing this as well, but it's just amazing me how, and I'm not really optimizing it like I should be for doing a show just for Amazon Live, but I'm making money and sold. I've sold almost over $8,000 worth of Amazon products for just going live and shooting my thing over there. So That's a big deal. So I'm all about live video and how to repurpose that. So Pinterest still #1 driver of traffic. Like I said, I've been working on, YouTube, how I can repurpose the stuff that I've been doing, this live video, and get some more juice out of it. And plus it's a place where it's a search engine. So I'm really kind of focusing lately on search engine, taking video and optimizing it for those search type of platforms like Pinterest and YouTube.
I love that. Oh my gosh, such great tips. And by the way, I love Amazon Live. I was actually on a show talking about hurricane weather prep tools and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I haven't actually I don't have my own show, but I've talked about that before. So
if you do live video, you guys need to look at it because it's pretty crazy. It's like the Wild West over there too. I've said a lot of Wild West things. I need a cowboy hat. But anyway, yeah.
I love that. So this is a great question from Jeremy. Really quick, how do you balance all of your content creation, specifically your videos, Jeff? Where do you store all of your video? Great question.
So I have multiple places that I store it. I have an NAS system here where I have backups of all my stuff. I also have it on my hard drives and and I put them to Dropbox. So I'm like really freaky about, because I've had projects like go away, like with a hard drive failure. So I always back up everything. So there's some really cool tools, Jeremy, if you're looking at like working with teams, like frame.io, which is really cool. Mitch Dong from Social Media Examiner got me working with that. It allows you to share out and give like actual reviews inside of Adobe Premiere, where you can have your team look at it. You can make suggestions and do stuff like that. That's really cool for doing that thing. But yeah, it's hard to balance all the content creation, but you have to make a process. Like I'm in the process right now of putting it together for my kids to help me repurpose some of this stuff. So one of my favorite tools that I'm using right now for everything, this includes my show, Guy Kawasaki's podcast, Tailwind Show, is Descript. Because for me, all my video always starts as a transcript. So as soon as my video is done, like I did a show today with Lou Mangello, that has already been uploaded to Descript, because I take that and I take it and cut out from Descript, and then I bring it into Adobe Premiere and do all the fun stuff.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Thank you so much. And that's a great question, Jeremy. I love that question. And I think just like you talked about before, Jeff, one of the biggest struggles I think I have and we have is we're doing so many live shows because I love live video. Right. But then it's like having the bandwidth and a team to repurpose all of that content, because you're just like, it is so good, but you know, it's one of the biggest struggles we have.
The struggle is real. And the best thing I can say is start with a transcript. And if you don't want to use Descript, you could use like otter.ai. If you want to pay a little bit, Timmy is another one. But once you have that transcript, that way you can get the time code. And the Descript is really cool because I can just highlight that, make edits, and just export that out to Premiere, where I can add a bumper, a hook, and an ending, and I can export it all out. So once you have that transcript that everything starts with, it makes everything a lot easier. I mean, I take from the transcript, I have a podcast, I have little clips from my video. I can put those into Agora Pulse and send them out all different ways, but it all starts with that transcript. So that's what I would suggest, especially for long form stuff. That makes the most sense.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. Thank you for that, Jeff. And we've got Megan says that frame.io, new ability to send video to the cloud real time with no latency is incredible. And their launch video is also amazing. So Megan, I love that. So great. If you guys have questions for Jeff, please let us know, because we're closing in on the end of the hour. And he's brilliant about Pinterest marketing, any social media channel at all, video creation, content creation, just, how to live an amazing life. He has those great tips for that. So please ask them. And Jeff, I would love to learn from you. Just the past 12 months have been very interesting. And we had you live in our Lunch and Learn series, specifically in our Facebook group last April. And I think almost to the exact same date, I believe, a year ago. But I would love to learn from you. What was your biggest pivot in learning of the last 12 months? Because there is always opportunity, even with such a devastating thing as, what we went through in the pandemic. And something that we've talked about is the fact that with us as human beings, when things are going good, we're less likely to veer off and try something new because what we're doing is working great. But now is the perfect opportunity. If you want to start a side hustle, you want to start a business, do it, because people are more open than ever to try something new, especially globally. Like, this isn't just impacting a small town, it's the entire world. So I would love to know from you and learn from you how you managed to stay successful, not get down and stressed out and have anxiety. Because I know some brick and mortar stores just were like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what to do. And they shut themselves down, where others innovated and created different campaigns on social media. So I would love to know from you how you pivoted and continued your success during a time like this, and your biggest learnings and advice for everyone else.
Yeah. So it was really interesting because, the start of this year, at the end of last year, in the middle of all this stuff was going on, I had to leave the show that shall not be named. That's like Voldemort, isn't it? And so I started my own show, my own news show, Social Media News Live. And it was really interesting because it was hard. And, you mentioned anxiety and all that stuff. I mean, I had it. I did. I mean, is this going to work? Do people really like me? All that stuff. It's real. And it's hard when you're starting a new thing. And so when I left a pretty well-known show and organization and went and did it by myself, there was a lot of angst that went with that. Like, and so I get it, because you're starting from zero again, and that can be really intimidating when you're starting. So I guess the thing is to, put your big boy pants on, I guess as my mom would say, and just kind of do it. And the other thing is I am lucky and blessed that I have a circle of friends. I mentioned Eric Fisher, and I have a mastermind, and I have some other groups that I meet with. I have like these people that believe in me and are encouraging to me. So if you don't have that, I would encourage you to really, before you do anything else, work on getting that, because you're going to need a support system, not just to give you stuff or advice, but just to be there and encourage you, because I think that's super important. So what I've learned in this last year, that I can do it, even if you've worked for a big company and you've left, you can still do it. And that I'm really working on repurposing my content better. We've talked about that throughout this entire show. Like I said, I got big into YouTube. Something that's opened up for me a lot is this live producing. Like, I'm running Guy's live show, also producing his podcast, host of Tailwind Show. So the technology and stuff that when I first started wasn't there is there now. So you can actually make a living producing things for other people, and you don't have to just do it in your little town of making commercials or whatever. You can do it globally now. And so that has really opened up, and I've done a lot of pivoting from there. So I guess those are kind of my takeaways, I guess, if that helps.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And for everyone else that are watching, please share your biggest pivots and learnings from this past year. We have Jen Cole in the house, who said basically
awesome.
The exact same thing as Eric, I believe, that two of my favorite people. We love you, Jen.
She's awesome. Yeah.
You're so incredible. We're so glad you're here. And she said also, Jeff, that's because you're so awesome. And this is true. Jeff is awesome. I feel like, Jeff, no matter where you go or what you do, everyone follows, because you're so brilliant. You're so kind. Your demeanor, I mean, just everything you do is just like, well, if Jeff's doing it, we must go to it and figure it out, or just be there. So like,
you're too kind.
No, it's the truth though. It's like 1,000% the truth. So yes, if you're not following Jeff already, you need to, on all the social channels, everything he does. But we have another question from Jeremy. So I love this. You guys, if you have questions, please let us know. We have almost only 10 minutes left. Jeremy said, would you recommend small businesses to start a Pinterest page and start publishing content? I know that it sometimes differs from industry, but I would love to know your thoughts.
Yeah, I think if it makes sense, and you've seen some other people on Pinterest, like I said, it's Pinterest is a longer term game. Like, when you start doing it, you're not going to see like instant results like when you run a Facebook ad or something like that, but you will start seeing some momentum. So if you don't have one, I would get an account, get a business account, a Pinterest business account, which allows you to run ads, and you get a lot of analytics and some other really cool stuff. And I would start doing that, especially if you've already got content. Like, if you're producing images for other channels, you probably can repurpose those as, Pinterest size pins, and Canva's got some great templates. Easel's got some great templates, and start moving, start putting out content there. I love Tailwind. I do their show, but I was using them before that. They're a great way to schedule content. They've got a lot of great resources on their blog that you can look at. So I would check them out as well. But yeah, so I would start if it's an industry that makes sense. One time I said, I do in any industry on Pinterest, maybe not an undertaker. And then they had all these undertakers, like funeral homes, saying, no, we do it and we get all this stuff and it's awesome. We give grief counseling. And so I'm like, I don't say that anymore. So if it makes sense for you, try it and see if it works. But Pinterest is really, that's why I got into it, because it's really, really easy. Really, you make images and you pin it, and you make sure you put a URL on it to drive people back. So I would definitely set up an account and test it out.
And Jeremy, since I know you and Abby, you guys could like blow Pinterest out of the water. You should definitely be doing Pinterest if you aren't already. Just like starting out and helping with all the clients and showing your clients what you're doing and the traction there. So definitely do that, because Jeremy, you guys are awesome. And talking about how awesome Jeff is, like Brad Freeman says, Jeff is awesome. Yeah, you really are. I hope you realize that, like, seriously, no matter where you go, like anything you touch turns to gold. We want Jeff to help.
Tinfoil, more like tinfoil. I wouldn't say gold yet, but tinfoil. I'll go with tinfoil. Yeah.
No, I would know. Seriously, I would definitely say that. So really quick with you, I have a random question: Clubhouse or Twitter Spaces? Which do you like more? And I think they're both very different, but I'm very curious as to which one you like more.
So I like him, and I know. Please don't tell your friend Brian Fanzo, because I know he's big. He's probably on Clubhouse right now. He's there all the time, and I think it's great. I think they're both great platforms. I lean more towards Twitter Spaces because it's more open. Like because I've used it before both ways. I've said, hey, after the show today, let's go over to Clubhouse or Twitter Spaces and let's continue the conversation.
Yeah.
If I say Clubhouse, half my audience is gone, and it's invite only, which I just and Twitter is like most people have it already. It's pretty easy to get on. I really like the inclusivity of them having a transcript. Like if you're hard of hearing or something like that, it auto generates a transcript. I've heard they're going to allow you to download that afterwards. So I'm all about repurposing stuff. And so it's really hard for me to have a great conversation on Clubhouse and then lose it. I just hate it. And then, I think because it's built on Periscope's platform, we'll eventually get the ability to download that audio, which would be great for podcasters and stuff. So I tend to go to the Twitter Spaces size. Now, Clubhouse has got the advantage. Twitter has the eyeballs. So it's going to be interesting to win. And I go back to what I said at the beginning of the show. Whatever platform you use, if you're building authentic, real relationships, it can totally change your career. So don't get so mixed up on like it's going to go away and all this stuff, but build the relationships, because those will transfer to whatever platform you end up on.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. I love that, Jeff, so much. And good point on the fact like Clubhouse is so difficult for me because Brian will be like, Jen, there was this amazing conversation and I will never hear it. Like, that's it. You know,
I record them all. They don't know that, but I do it. It's illegal, but I do it. So.
It's a huge FOMO builder though, but it's very true. And I love how you broke that down. But, like you said before, at the same time, it just matters about building relationships. That's what it comes down to. When it comes
and
to
Deb does have, she says, I like Clubhouse so much better because I've been in it. She has a great room that she does every Friday, I think is what she does it. And I've been in there a couple of times. That she does a great room. So I think it's going to it comes down to who's going to win at the end. Maybe they'll both be there and you'll just have to pick. But like I said, as long as you're building relationships, it really doesn't matter, I don't think.
Yeah, no. And I think like Clubhouse for me, my love of it is the connections I'm making that are different from any other platform.
Yeah.
But like you said, there's benefits to everything else, different pieces. So I love that. And really quick, because we're about to get to trivia and it's Pinterest trivia. But Beck said, Jennifer, I thought your surname was Weather. I was getting confused why your name popped up as Jennifer Watson. Now I know why Evie called you Jennifer Watson, which I corrected with it's Weather. Yes. And actually Watson is, it's a fake last name. It's a camera name, an on-camera name. My real last name is Ost. I'll just say it here. But when I do TV, I keep it as Watson just to keep some of the creepers away. I've had a couple of people that we've had to call the police on. So back in the day. So I just, for safety reasons, I like to use Watson. Yeah. So, but yes. And then Trisha said, Pinterest is brilliant for small business. I have another small business for the past 11 plus years. I've had clients come to me with examples of what bridal they want. Plus they've shown me their own work from pins I've created that they found and saved on Pinterest. So yes, very valid point. And really quick, in about like 30 seconds, Jeff, what last advice do you have before we get to fun trivia and giveaways? Like to marketers or anyone?
Oh, yeah. So I would say this, invest in yourself and in your business. Always learn and try things that don't scale sometimes. So one of the things I have really tried to do is invest in myself, like buying courses, getting involved in masterminds. We all want that profit. We all want to spend that money, but investing in yourself and not just like buying, paper products you need for the office, but for yourself, like learning things like, okay, I'm going to budget. Somebody said it the other day, they had to take a whole day just to think, like they budget time to like think about new ideas. I think that's genius, but take times and do that for your own business.
I love that. That's the best advice ever, because I get that way sometimes too, where I'm just like, I don't know if I want to invest this money, but in the long run, it could mean making a lot more and doing different things. So I absolutely love that. But with that said, oh my gosh, we have almost 5 minutes left. It is trivia time now. Jeff, you can give hints to this, or if you have an idea of what it is, you probably absolutely know. But we're going to go to trivia, guys. So this is the first trivia question. As you know, Jeff and I can actually see you guys right now. You can't Google these answers because we are aware of what's happening.
Yeah. We have friends at Google.
We do have friends at Google. So the first question is, according to Omnicore, what is the total number of monthly active Pinterest users? Again, what is the total number of monthly active Pinterest users? Now, when you answer these, answer 1-A, B, C, or D, or 2-A, B, C, or D, because there's 2 questions. You got to get them both right to be in the running to winning an Agora Pulse t-shirt or a mug, your choice, which is so exciting because I'm going to say we have the best swag. And I know I work at Agora Pulse, but I really, truly believe it. So what are people thinking? I want to know. And Jeff, what do you think?
Oh, you want me to say? Because I think I know.
Well, okay. So Megan and Jen both said 1C. They said 350 million. They're on that end of the scale. Are you on that end of the scale, or are you?
I'll just say I'm on that end of the scale. That's easy. Yeah.
Okay, you're on that end. So we've got C's. Everyone's answering C. And that was really good tip by Jeff. And I'm going to stop talking because my biggest mistake is but okay, so Jeremy said C. Everyone is saying C. Beck said D, which I'm just going to stop talking because that was a good answer, Beck. And we're going to move on to the next one because even Brian says that he can read my voice and tell my voice. And so, and I'm sure everyone just realized what the correct answer was. So anyway, we're going to move to trivia question number 2. So according to Omnicore, what is the largest Pinterest user base outside of the US? Which this one surprised me. I didn't know. But again, what is the largest Pinterest user base outside of the US? Is it Australia, Germany, Brazil, or Japan? And this is one that I
don't know if I know the answer to this one. I can guess, but I don't know if I know for sure.
Yeah. Beck, you were different and you were correct. I just gave that answer completely away. So anyway, but yeah, so I'm not going to give this one because this one's a hard one.
Yeah.
It surprised me, and me saying that does not give away the answer at all because I was surprised and impressed. We've got a Japan. Someone said Japan. Megan, you said Japan as well. Jeremy said Japan. Everyone's saying Japan. Trisha says Germany. So Jen says Germany as well. So yeah, I was surprised by this. I guess Pinterest is probably one of the social media networks maybe I don't know the most about when it comes to these demographics. So I was surprised. But you guys have some good answers. Beck said Australia. Yes, Australia. But I'm not going to say that's correct or not. But I will contact, so whoever gets these correct, I usually wait 24 hours. So whoever watches the replay can have a chance to answer, but I'm really not going to say anything else about the second question.
Okay.
And
you have to wait and find out.
You do have to wait and find out. So
now I'll have to ask my friends.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Or hang around after the show, Jeff. And
okay. You'll see.
I will let you. Yeah.
I know the first one, but this one is interesting to me.
Yeah.
I'm wondering which one has Pinterest, because a lot of the people are always asking me, well, we can't get Pinterest ads in these certain countries. And so I'm wondering if this country actually has Pinterest ads. So I'll have to look at that too. So.
Oh my gosh. And don't Google, guys. We see it. We know people at Google. Don't Google, guys. That's right. Oh my gosh, I love it. So, it can't be Australia. Okay. So we've got that. Okay, so we've got some tips. People were having discussions. I'm not going to say anything else, but there's good points being brought up. So I love this so much. But with that said, I just have to say thank you, Jeff, for your time. You've been with us for basically an hour. And
yeah, this is fun.
Your brilliance and everything, sharing all your tips and tricks, like it's priceless. And I told everyone to bring a notebook or have something handy because you always bring it. Beck said she changed it to Germany. So yeah, it's an interesting discussion. Trisha said, thank you, Jen and Jeff. Yes, absolutely. Trisha, thank you for always joining us. Trisha is like our family at Agora Pulse. Jeff, I don't know if you know that, but she joins every single week and she's in the UK. It's evening awesome. For her. Yeah. So she is wonderful.
Take a nap.
Yeah. Back you're in Australia, everyone else. We got people from Africa all around the world. Thank you so much for joining us and geeking out with us. We love you so much. And Jeff, thank you for being with us as well. Where can people follow you, listen to you, all of those good things?
Yeah, I'd love for him to go look at Social Media News Live. It's on Facebook. It's on the websites. It's all across the socials. And can I bring up something on screen real quick? I wanted to
Yeah,
is that cool?
absolutely.
So this is I'm trying to get around the algorithm. So if you text me at 903-287-9088, that comes to me. It's a new service. It's the same service like Gary Vee uses. So I was really intrigued by it. So I'm testing it out because I'm trying to get around from this number. And actually, it's when we go live. I don't spam anything, but it's really cool if you want to ask me a question. Like Jeremy, if you want to ask me a question, text me at this number, and I'll be more than happy to. And let me know if you come in on it. Let me know you came from a Social Pulse Weekly, because I'd love to, make sure I'm this thing is working that I'm testing. So love to you guys text me there.
I love that. Oh my gosh, Jeff, that's so cool. I definitely will. Don't give people that number, because you're going to be like, Jen, stop texting me.
No, I love. That's the thing is, I want people to see stuff that when we put stuff out on Facebook or Twitter, the algorithms have to do something. I want a place where people can connect with me, maybe a little easier than email. A lot of people use mobile, so this is what I'm testing.
I love it. It's perfect. So you guys want to contact Jeff, obviously follow him on all his social channels so you see the content, but the phone number is up there. Deb put the phone number in the comments, and you are all good. With that said, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. If we can ever do anything for you at Agora Pulse, please let us know. You can always email me at jennifer@agorapulse.com. If you're not using Agora Pulse, you should be. It's an amazing tool. It's why I took the job here. You get a free 28-day trial of Agora Pulse, and we promise it doesn't come just with that, but there's so many extras that it comes with, added value. We help you with education. We have all these live shows and so much more. Also join Social Pulse Community, which is our Facebook group, Social Media Pulse Community, and we geek out about things there. You can ask questions, and just like Jeff was talking about masterminds, if you don't have a mastermind yet, you can come there and just say, hey guys, can you take a look at this image, this video, or I was thinking of doing this, and people will give you feedback. And so we're all there to support each other and network. So with that said, make it a great rest of your Friday, make it a great weekend. Beck, I think it's already Saturday for you, so cheers to the weekend, and we will see you here again next week. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.